My most memorable travel experience. I've thought about this long and hard, and I realized how blessed I was that I have so many stories that I could tell you. I think the one I'll choose will be the one day I came home and decided that I was going on a world tour. And I was going to be gone for 2 months, and I was leaving in 6 days. I left Seattle and went straight to London, where I stayed in Covent Garden area, and I was invited to a movie premiere of a Tom Cruise movie. From there, I took off and went to Cologne, Germany, where I met up with a friend who had driven in from Heidelberg. And we toured and traveled around Cologne and Brussels. From there, I took a train from Cologne to Frankfurt and traveled all the way along the Rhine River. And I started seeing these medieval castles. And I was taking pictures, and I was so excited, and I was counting them. After I got past 50, I quit taking pictures. From Frankfurt, I took off and went to South Africa. And I went to Cape Town. Beautiful place, enjoyed it there. When I got off the plane and I was in Africa, I felt like I'd found my feet. I knew for some reason I needed to be there. While in Africa, as most people do, I went on safari. And I learned a couple lessons about going on safari. I did not go to the Kruger National Park region. I went to a smaller park in the Karoo region. And these park rangers, I don't think were as experienced as the Kruger rangers. We weren't given a lot of instruction on what not to do. So there you have it. Anyway, while on safari, they took us out to our rondovo, which is a wood hut. It's a traditional African, actually mud hut with a thatched roof, which is where we stayed. I was traveling alone, so I was in my rondovo by myself, and I got bored. I knew they were going to be back at 6 o'clock to pick us up and bring us back to the main lodge for dinner. So I picked up my camera and I walked outside my rondovo and decided to do my own safari, which I found out later wasn't a great idea. I went over this crest and I looked down, and the sun was setting, and there was this beautiful watering hole. And there were giraffe, and there were zebra, and all types of gazelle, and antelope. I mean, everything was there, and I was snapping pictures, and it was just so gorgeous. I was inching closer to the watering hole to see how close I could get. Now, being raised in Southern California, I know what an earthquake feels like, and you can hear one coming. Well, I heard this rumbling, and I felt the ground shaking, and I thought, Africa doesn't have earthquakes. And I looked back over and I saw dust in the air, and I stood up to see a herd of Cape buffalo coming right at me. The only thing I could do was dive into the watering hole. So that was a near miss. But you know, when the animals are there at the watering hole and they're drinking, they're not dropping daisies there. I was covered. So I walked back to my rondovo, and all I can think about is just taking a shower and getting dressed before the Unimog comes back to pick me up. And in between me and my rondovo is a herd, I forget what you call it, a flock of ostrich. There's like 20, 25 ostrich between me and the front door. And I'm just standing there, and it's like, all right, now what do I do? And they wouldn't leave. So I said, that's it. I just walked right through the middle of them, went in the front door, took a shower, and the park rangers came and picked me up at 6 o'clock on time. So we're back at the main lodge, and I tell them what I had done, and they made me get up and explain to everybody, all the other guests there, what I had done. And then we were all taught the lessons of what not to do. Like, don't go out on your own, and don't ever walk through a flock of ostrich. I found out if that ever happens, you just lay flat, and all they can do is stomp you. But if you're standing there, they can pick up their foot and slice you with that huge claw. Anyway, lesson learned there. From South Africa, I took off and went to Sydney, Australia. And from there I went up and I got to dive the Great Barrier Reef. And from there I went to Auckland, New Zealand, and went on some tours up through Auckland and made it back home to Seattle, and all this in 2 months. So I had a lot of fun, a lot of experience, and I chose to just pick up and go do it by myself. So I'd say that would be my most memorable travel experience. was going and doing this by myself. That's all I got.